Geri G Show, broadcasting from Global TV and Good People TV. Today, my VIP/celebrity guest is none other than John Ozuna from California. He is an actor, stuntman, master martial artist, Guinness World Records fastest punch, and most punches in 1 minute. He has acted in Matrix 4, Venom 1 and 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Demon Fighter, Cabal, Dragonfly, The Infinity Project, and the list goes on and on and on.
It's not going to withstand a proper revolution, Mr. President.
This box contains the brain of a professional martial artist who used to work for the CIA. You'll inherit all of his skills and coordination along with all of his memories.
It's vital that this information is protected. If it were to land into the wrong hands, our national security could and most certainly would be compromised.
John, I welcome you to the show.
Oh my goodness, that's a wonderful introduction. Thank you very much, Geraldine. It's a pleasure to be on the Geri G Show.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you. A bit of a busy day, but very well.
This is the first time I am on anything in South Africa.
Is that?
And actually, I have a really good friend. I have a really good friend who is from South Africa. And she's a really great friend of the family. But you know, to this day, I don't know exactly where she's from in South Africa. So I couldn't tell you whether it was Johannesburg or I have no idea. She just always says South Africa.
This woman, I meet my international friends as well. Where are you from? We just say South Africa. We don't really say which part of South Africa we're from. So I do the same thing as well. So John, what has inspired you to learn martial arts?
Oh my goodness! Wow, that goes way back. You know, oh my goodness! You know, I'm an old guy in martial arts, and you know, this year, 2021, I celebrate 40 years, 4 decades of martial arts training. And that's a long time to be in any one thing. But you know what inspired me? It's really the same story for a lot of people. It's watching a Bruce Lee movie, you know, for the very first time. And you know, Bruce Lee is a household word, you know, all over the world. And I remember very specifically that my parents, you know, we went to a drive-in theater where there's multiple screens, and you're in your car and you watch the movie that you paid for. And I remember, you know, we were leaving, and I'm a child. I'm probably about 5 years old, and we're leaving, and I'm in the back seat with my brother, and I looked, you know, in the, you know, the rear window, and you could see all the other screens and all the other things that were playing out. And then I saw this guy that was flying through the air, and he was doing all these amazing fight scenes, and he just looked so dynamic and so powerful. And I was just thinking, wow, what is that? Who is that? What is he doing? That's what I want to do. And you know, and then I begged my parents to see the movie, and we did. And we saw all his movies, which weren't very many, but that changed my life. You know, it just created such an impression on me, you know, regarding what I want to do for the rest of my life. You know, and just we all do this. We all imprint ourselves in our heroes. and it doesn't matter who it is. But we basically tell ourselves we see ourselves doing the same things as that person is doing. And I love the martial arts, and I love films and movies and whatnot. So I remember begging my mom, please sign us up for a lesson in martial arts. And there was a judo after school program. And there are thousands and thousands of different martial arts. But judo is a Japanese-based system, but it has everything to do with throwing your opponent. So everything has to do with grabbing onto the person and figuring out a way of throwing them on the ground. And we were doing that, and I was like one of a couple of children in an adult class, and I was being tossed around like a beach ball. So it's like playing catch with me. So I was thinking to myself, it's not what Bruce Lee does. So it wasn't until later on that I took Chinese Kung Fu, and then from that point on, I stayed with it ever since.
That is so amazing, and martial arts have such an important part of many people's lives. Both adults and children, self-defense, focus and awareness, improving the health and character, because you learn respect, discipline, and how to cooperate. Although you're learning martial arts, in that process, it's a gradual process of self-discipline as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Martial arts, as a whole, it is a method of self-reflection. And you are going through a process. From the practical end, essentially you're provided tools, defensive movements, blocking movements, striking movements, however you strike. You're provided tools, and then you're given scenarios. This person is approaching you, and they're approaching you in this way. They might be grabbing you around the throat this way. They might be, it might have a knife to you. They might have a gun to you. A given scenario. They might be more than one. It might be two, maybe three, maybe four, maybe five people that are trying to attack you at the same time. So practically, you're shown what to do in those given situations. But beyond that, to your point, you're shown a way of arriving at a solution. So here's the problem. Somebody's going to try to hurt you. Here is the solution. And it teaches you more about yourself than many other subjects can, because it reveals your talents, things that you're good at, but it also reveals all of your weaknesses, things that you're simply not very good at. And it could be a number of different things. It could be just simply remembering the information, or physically doing them, or flexibility, or endurance, or just all those things. So, it helps you identify what some of the weaknesses are, and it helps you with trying to develop them into absolute strengths. And it provides a symmetry and a balance in your life. And because it's not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's the principle of yin and yang. Basically, essentially, yin would be female, yang would be male. So it's always looking at things from a perspective of kind of a completeness, never just one-sided, never just kind of one way, but just how you and how you fit into that puzzle.
I absolutely agree with you, and it's strange you talk about the yin and yang, because I just had an interview recently about talking about the yin and yang. Who are the biggest influences in martial arts?
It's a lot of people will immediately just point out individuals that we see in movies or TV. My first influence was obviously Bruce Lee, and and that again, you imprint yourself, and you envision yourself being that sort of person. but actually physically going through it and being taught. My teacher is Senior Grandmaster Richard Lee, and he developed a system of martial arts called Bak Do. And Bak Do is a white tiger system of Chinese martial arts. And it was, 40 years of his guidance and his passing on his wisdom, the information, and placing me in positions where I'll fail, where I will physically, mentally, and emotionally fail, only to rebuild and to continue to try it again. Through that, I've had the great opportunity of traveling all over the world through martial arts. I've been obviously all over the United States, all over Europe, all over Asia, and I've fought competitively. So, taking once trained, your skill set and everything that your teacher has ever relayed to you, and putting it to the test against other people from other countries that are considered the best in the world, and you're out there, really seeing, where your journey has taken you. So, my teacher is an amazing influence, and every person that you come across, we're a synergy of every person that we've allowed to influence us positively or negatively through our life history,
Artist of all time is Bruce Lee, with his unique martial arts, and there's no mystery about his style. His movements are simple, direct, and non-classical. And the extraordinary part of it lies in its simplicity.
You're right. I'm so glad you said that because I agree with you. He's an extraordinary martial artist, and just the most extraordinary martial artists I've ever known were people that were never in films. They were just so passionate about what they did and relaying that information to their students. But Bruce Lee, I think what he did for the Western world and then all over the world is so infinitely to the highest levels. So that physically you saw his his physique and his he's just in extraordinary shape. But that was because of the hard work and dedication and always experimenting with new ideas. And that was him. They now refer to him as the originator of mixed martial arts, combining an idea from one system and joining it into another system, which back in the day, that was unheard of. You would never do that because you want to always maintain the purity of the particular system of martial arts that you did. So you would never want it to be contaminated. But martial arts, quite frankly, has always been in existence since human beings had to defend themselves against animals or invading villagers or where they had to defend their life. Martial arts was created at that point. And it's not until more recently that we have the formal martial arts and what's taught and how it's done. But yeah, Bruce Lee, gave us the opportunity to say it's okay to borrow from this, and apply it in a given situation. Because to say that any one martial arts is the supreme, the best, and none is better, is a very narrow perspective of martial arts. They're all amazing. And I teach everything from something that's as aggressive as, gouging somebody's eyes, ripping out their throat, striking the groin. Can I say that?
Gosh, really?
I said it very nicely. ripping and tearing the groin.
Oh my gosh. So we definitely need to have those private classes, John. Okay, I need to know those things. I really need to.
I would be happy to be your instructor.
My goodness, I can't believe that. Really? Is that what you teach as well?
Yeah,
All
it
forms
is.
of martial arts, right?
Yeah, it is. I definitely teach the sport aspect, but in the sport aspect of fighting, there are rules. So there's certainly things that you cannot do. You avoid the eyes, you avoid the throat, you avoid joints, you avoid striking to the groin. You can't do those things. But
Right.
in saving your life, in a situation if you were ever attacked, you immediately want to do those things. You know, you immediately want to just drive those fingers into the eyes, and it's a way of helping somebody who is smaller and not as strong as the person that's aggressively attacking them have a chance. You know, and I always use this analogy. You know, when my daughter was a baby, you carry your daughter and you're here like this, and they're playing with your nose, and all of a sudden they stick a finger in your eye, and you're here like, my goodness, take this child away from me, and you're like this, and it obviously was effective. You're talking about somebody that's merely a few pounds, or a handful of pounds, compared to an adult person, and that was effective. So it's knowing what to do, it's knowing when to do it, and once you do, you're fully committed to do it. And I've worked with a lot of people that say, I would never do that. I would never put my fingers in somebody's eyes, and that's just so gross. You'd be surprised what you do in a given situation. It's just kind of, you just do whatever that needs to be done.
I fully agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. At times, I don't really need to even be in that position. I just want to still do it at any given time,
Yeah. And in martial arts, in the subject of self-defense and self-protection, every human being is equipped with a self-preservation instinct. It's a very primal. So in other words, if you're ever approached or ever attack or feel that you're in danger, you will do something. And if it means run, if it means scream, if it means, and those are, if you can do that first. But if you're in a situation where somebody automatically does, and they're on top of you, you're on the ground, and they're forcing their strength against you, then you have to do something, and your instincts will kick in. And it's not a matter of matching your strength with their strength. It really is just targeting over and over again the most vulnerable parts of the bodies. You can take the biggest person and the strongest person in the world, and if you drive a finger in their eye, they're done. They're done. There's not much more fight that's going to be in them. And if you do it repetitively, they're really gone. So that way we all have a chance for survival. So we all have instincts, because we know that, when something's not bad or if something's not right, we are like any other animal. We sense danger. So it's that intuition that we have that we just act on it. And if it means like, that's scary over there, it's time to go this way instead, you just go that way. And that's self-defense.
Follow your instincts, as they say, as well. And learning these techniques to defend ourselves is avoiding all of these potential dangers. John, tell me about your Guinness World Records, the fastest punch and most punches in 1 minute.
Wow. It's been a while since I've done that. And, the only reason I ever did it was to bring attention to a program that we had at my school. it was a child safety program. So unfortunately, we had a situation where a young girl, maybe all of 10 years old, she was abducted. She was sexually assaulted. She survived the situation, but she has a lifelong journey ahead of her to cope with what had happened. So as a community, rather than just saying, we feel for her, and we just hope that this never happens again to another child, we did something about it. So what I would do is I formed a program called KO Cares. And CARES stands for Community Assault Abduction Resolution Efforts. And we basically went to any group that would accept us, whether it be Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, any school that would accept us. We went ahead and we went there and we taught children how to protect themselves, and not in the combative way so much, on just recognizing dangerous situations, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. Usually, if somebody approaches a child, it's going to be two scenarios: gaining their confidence by being nice to them and saying, "Hey, you know what? I see that your mom's not here yet. I can take you to your home. I'm a good friend of your parents. We go way back. And guess what? I've got a puppy there too, and you're gonna love my puppy." And kind of luring them in, or it's just snatch and take. So it's those two different scenarios, and so it's teaching children what that means in a way that is simple and positive as well, because we want them to be empowered. We don't want them to be afraid necessarily. We want them to feel that they can do things, and it's okay to yell and scream and say and call for help. It's okay to do that, because people's first impulse for not protecting themselves is the fear of being embarrassed. People would rather actually fall down and get hurt and walk away limping, just hoping that nobody saw them do that, because they would feel embarrassed.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, it's the judgment of others, and it's the judgment of ridicule and feeling that you're a fool, or feeling that you're inadequate. All those things that people fear most, and that will compromise people's safety sometimes. So getting back to the I'm sorry, I really fell off track here. Sorry about that.
I'm intrigued by all of this. Either way, you can detour as well.
I went way off track, but the record. So I was with my daughter, and she was. I think she was the one who suggested. She goes, Dad. And again, she doesn't call me Dad. She calls me Poppy. She goes, Poppy, why don't you do something that brings attention to the program? And she just said, why don't you break some world records or something? I said, sure, why not? And the more studying I did, the more I knew that was going to be a challenge. And I've got two records. I've held two records. One was for the most punches in 1 minute, which is 713 punches in a minute. And the other was the fastest punch in the world, which in some of the fastest punchers in the world are American boxers, and they're clocked up to be about 26 or so miles per hour. I was able to do punches like 43.3 miles per hour, so quite a bit more. And it was all quantified through Guinness and other scientists from Stanford University, from Hewlett-Packard, scientists from there, and also from NASA, that actually recorded what I did to make it a record. So it was an educational journey for me, and it took a lot of training. It took a lot. So you have a certain amount of natural talent that leads to this, and it lends to doing well. but you have to have the preparation. So it was there was a lot of pressure to make it happen.
I can imagine a lot of training. Did you know I'm also a Guinness World Record holder?
You are?
Yeah, I am.
You are a sister. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, but mine's is a little different to yours. A lot of training, and I I took part for the biggest fashion show in the world. So it was correlated. It was correlated with the Guinness World Record. So I won the Guinness World Record on that. As I told you, a lot of training involved there, just like you.
There must have been.
Must have been,
Congratulations. It's one of those things where we always want to achieve our dreams, and everybody dreams and fantasizes about seeing themselves in a way that they see their heroes, and or they want to do something that's just makes an impact or influences other people and motivates other people. And it says one thing to not only dream about it, but to actually take the steps to actually do it. So I had no idea. Congratulations, my Guinness World Record sister.
Yeah, partner. In Spain, yeah, this happened in Madrid.
Wow,
So,
wow,
yeah, there were
that's amazing.
79 nationalities and fashion designers from around the world. So it was quite a very, very big event.
That's incredible. So what year was that?
It was last year, 2020.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's just before lockdown happened.
That's amazing.
I went up in February, and thank God we left just before COVID. Well, COVID did start in China at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in Dubai and spending some days there.
Wow.
And
wow.
I thought, me and my best friend, we thought we were going to be on lockdown in Dubai or Spain, Ibiza. We wasn't sure.
Oh,
Thank
my
God
goodness.
we just managed to escape that. And then, we were okay. We were just so happy being back in our country after the entire incident, because we thought we were going to be locked down for months on end there.
So, was it worth it? It was worth it, right?
Really worth it. Absolutely worth it. And the thing is, John, COVID started. I bought my first mask in Paris. I didn't even carry a mask because it really wasn't a big thing here. Or at least I did try looking for masks, but it all was sold out. I'm talking about Cape Town too, because I had to go to Cape Town first. So everywhere in Cape Town, looking for masks, it was all sold out. This is what we had experienced in our country, because they were supplying China at that time.
Exactly.
So we just sold out of everything. So my very first mask was in Paris. My mom, did you buy a mask? Did you buy a mask? She was so worried.
She just said, just hold your hand like that. Just go like that. That must be quite an experience.
It really was an experience, as well, to travel up there and being in those countries with my best friends. So it was even more exciting. We always end up doing this stuff together. So we always set locations. So when girls are together, what fun happens there, right?
Oh my goodness. I could only imagine.
Going to Ibiza, that's exactly what we did.
That's great. I'm glad you had a good time, and congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you so much, and a huge congratulations to you as well. But I'm sure yours was definitely earned. I mean, considering punches in 1 minute. I'm so lost for words. I mean, the amount of raw power and energy, to have practiced in all of that, it's so incredible. It's not just the speed that blows the mind away; it's the strength behind each punch. So, a huge congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Want a free trial?
So moving forward, John,
Yeah.
When did you start acting in films?
Oh wow. You know, it's been a very unique journey. You know, at a very, you know, I had gone through a large period of time where I did a lot of competitive fighting and martial arts competition all over the world. And as I progressed and as I did well, you know, and I was taking first places the majority of the time, you gain a little bit of recognition for that. And then people will approach you that may have local, you know, TV shows, whatever. And they'll say, hey, you know, we'd love for you to be on our show, you know, to go through an interview and maybe even do a demonstration. And then it kind of progressed from there. And you know, then somebody saw a certain interview that I did, and I was contacted, and then they would say, hey, you'd love to see that in one of my films, you know, but could you coordinate it, you know, and maybe we'll catch you in front of the camera. So it was very evolutionary. But one of the biggest breaks I think I got was a commercial. And I was, of all things, I was in a Eggo waffle commercial. You know, and they you know, Kellogg's, the company Kellogg's contacted me, and they said, you know, this is Kellogg's, you know, we represent Eggo waffles. And I said, oh, great. And they said, you know, we're looking for a master martial artist to be in a commercial. And this is what we want you to do. We want you to play basically yourself, and we're going to have you teach people how to defend themselves against other people taking their Eggo waffles. So I had to literally show people how to do that, and it became part of the commercial. So from that just led to so many other opportunities in terms of both TV, film, you know, print modeling, things of that sort, and it just evolved. And you know, eventually I became a union actor. You know, I studied and still continue to study acting, because again, a lot of what they wanted to use me for was a lot of the action scenes. You know, okay, we're gonna have you do an action scene. Some guys come at you, boom, 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 boom. You know, you're gonna show that. And great. And great, and that's wonderful, and I love that, because again, you know, it's kind of following the footsteps of a lot of the heroes I had. But you know, if you can't act, then it's even difficult to even convey that. So I put as much effort into developing my acting as my martial arts, and that was a very unique journey. And we had talked about before coming on, you know, one of my films. And, you know, I've had the great opportunity of working on a lot of projects and working with a lot of extremely, extremely talented, you know, actors and artists of all different sorts. But, you know, my last project that I worked on, it's a movie called Demon Fighter, which is going to be out in about a month or so. And that particular film took me to a whole different level of an emotional state of mind. You know, it's a great film. It's an amazing story, but it combines genres of horror and action and you know, you're combining these two genres, but it has layers of other genres, and the emotional state of mind that I had to be in to really make it a believable scene was exhausting, was absolutely exhausting. So, you know, and again, I've had such great success so far in having the opportunities to be in these projects and to work with some amazing talent.
So this is so exciting and yet so fascinating. You've used your skills, experience, and training and you just go further in all that you do. It really is exciting. But as you say, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into all of this, especially as you said, your emotions as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those where, they had always said that, actors will always say that sometimes, when they've been in a certain role, that they got so immersed into the character and the emotions of the character that it was very difficult for them to really pull away from it. And I had never really had that experience until my last project, which is Demon Fighter. And Demon Fighter was produced by CRA Entertainment, by some amazing geniuses in the industry. The writer and director is David Espinosa, producer Craig Ahrens. I have to really give them credit for what they produced and what they wrote. But you go into that particular project. Once it was done, it was cut, filming is over, we go back to our normal lives, in a way. I had nightmares for about a month, every single night after the movie was already done. I couldn't break away from not only the character and the emotional state of mind of the character, but just the expectation of doing the best I could, being in that role, and just the process, getting up each morning and just knowing that you've got to be on, and you've got to not only have your lines down, but you have to be in that emotional state of mind for that particular moment. And then you have to do it again, and then again, and again. And afterwards, you're just completely wiped out. But it's rewarding. It's one of the things that I think I love the most about it, that it's so, you immerse yourself so much into the process that before you know it, a month's worth of filming, it feels like it's a week, but sometimes it feels like it's a year long. So it's just so much, there's a part of it. So yeah.
John, you've taken the words out of my mouth. I was about to tell you that acting is tough but so rewarding, and most importantly, it's a fun career and choice. But now we all know as well that acting does take a lot of time and effort, and you gotta mentally be there and to fit that particular role.
Yeah, right now I have been studying a very particular method of acting, and there's a term called method acting, which is really embracing a lot more of the character, the character's backstory. But the one I do specifically is a Stanislavski method of acting, and this particular method of acting is very, very extreme, very self-evaluating. You take that character and you ask you create a backstory, and the backstory is every aspect, everything from not only where the person might have been born, where he grew up, what is his faith, his faith base like, what are his likes and dislikes, what are his choices of meals, what time of the day does he sleep, when does he wake up, what is his daily ritual, what are his likes and dislikes, so you're exploring all of these things that will have an influence on that scene, so that when you're doing that scene, you are that person, and you're doing it as if though, you always ask yourself, if I personally was in that situation, regardless of the situation, it could be emotional, it could be tragic, it could be, it could be something that makes you feel angry or enraged. How would I personally express myself at that moment? And that's a big part of that method of acting. And again, you get so caught up and immersed. And there are actors, that are very, very famous actors that also, did the very same style of method acting.
John, I'm a bit worried if I had to go into acting, would I ever come out of the character? I mean, it took you a month. How long would I take to get out of that character?
I don't know.
I think
That's a good question.
I'd rather stay away from it.
Okay, and you got to go too extreme because again, a lot of the roles, and again, I'm glad that I'm playing many different roles. My last role, I played a priest. In Demon Fighter, I play a priest that's a damaged person that had a very rough start of life, and I play a person that whose mother was a drug addict, a prostitute, and I was around that environment. I made horrible life choices myself and wound up in the prison system. So I resorted to fighting as a means of getting by, and also in some ways to punish myself for all the things I've done wrong in my life. So everything from playing a priest to a superhero, where I'm costumed and and I'm doing these heroic moves, and so it's just gone from one extreme to the other. So it's but the reason I'm saying this is I want you to play me in your first film.
Hey, as a martial artist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my, okay. I think I may just conquer that.
I think you'll do very well.
I was actually thinking more of Catwoman. So if
oh my goodness, yeah. I think that would be right up your alley. Absolutely.
So you'd be saving all then. That would fit me well, I think. Well, considering that my nephew has a nickname for me ever since he was little as Catty. I'm not sure why, but they just nicknamed me as Catty. I don't know.
I love that. That's great. Actually, give me one moment. I'm going to split really fast.
Okay.
Oh, this is Catty.
Wow.
Yeah, that's mine. This is Amelia.
That's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, she was meowing at the door, so she wanted to come in.
What is her name?
Amelia.
Amelia.
There we go.
I love her eyes.
I'm sorry about that.
How many cats do you have?
I've got one. I've got the one cat.
Wow, she's really beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, she doesn't like to be alone.
Coming from Catty herself. Catty from
exactly.
South Africa.
Since you mentioned that, I thought it'd be a good time to introduce you.
Yes.
Preview. Final round.
So John, I have another question that seems to bother me a lot. How do actors cry? Do they produce real tears or memory-driven tears, fake tears, or do they just use vapors from an onion?
Wow. Everybody's going to have a different answer for that. And I think, if you're an actor, and it takes repetition. So when you act, you're essentially manipulating your emotions, and you're doing it over and over and over and over again over a period of time. So after a while, you improve on that. And I've known actors that couldn't cry. They just couldn't. So what they do, there's always a little secret, and the makeup artists actually have something that they can put just right underneath their eyes, and it's like a vapor rub that has menthol, and they just put it really close to their eyes, and that goes into their eyes, and they just start tearing. But I've known actors that can cry like that. They just at any moment they can just express those feelings and those tears. For me, it's funny. I've had several different projects where I've had to show emotion, and along with the method of acting that I do, a lot is based on your own personal history. So we've all have gone through events in our lives that have caused us to feel some very extreme ways. And, we felt extreme sorrow. We felt, you and I talked about, that before we went on, and we felt loss, and we felt despair, and we felt confusion. We felt all these things. So it's just a matter of kind of retracing and going back to those events in your life, and trying to bring those out. And it's not easy. It really is not easy. You really have to be in the moment. The last Demon Fighter, there were several scenes in there, but there's one in particular, without giving away the story, I'm trying to save somebody's life, and I'm not doing very well, and I'm struggling, and I'm losing, and I'm not able to get to the person that and it's just that feeling of anxiousness, and I've lost, people that were very, very close to me in very extreme ways, and at times of their life that they should not be gone, but an event took place where it took their life, and you feel that you're there again. And I remember this one scene where I'm trying so desperately to save somebody's life, and I can't. And I just overwhelmed with, even now, I can feel a lot of the emotion. You're just so overwhelmed with the feeling of despair and not being able to do anything at all, that your emotions just start coming out, and you're feeling the losses that you have felt before. You're feeling, you're feeling the impact that it had on you, just as it was then. And I remember going through the scene, and we did it a few times, but I remember when we stopped that scene, I couldn't stop being emotional. So we finished that particular scene, and I simply couldn't control it. And I remember that just everybody left me alone, and I had another scene that I had to do right afterwards, and they're setting up for the scene. So you have all the technicians there, the lighting people, the prop people, the camera people, the sound people, and all the other actors that are involved, and they saw that I was really affected. So you just have to give that person that time. And since the next scene was going to be also kind of an emotional scene, it just carried over into the next scene. And so that's kind of my way of doing it, because right away, I'm talking right away, it triggers an event in my life that was so out of my control, out of my reach. There was nothing I could do about the end result. That that's, to me, that's probably one of the worst feelings, is not being able to control the situation, and that helplessness that you feel, and the hopelessness that you feel. That's, to me, that's probably one of the I wouldn't say biggest fear, but it's one of the most impactful emotions that I feel. So, and everybody has their own method, and if onions work, then I'm gonna start slicing and dicing onions. If I can't do it, I'll start slicing.
I think I'd have to go with onions, because you are so right in what you say, that when you go through a very emotional or saddest part of your life, and it can be like years, 20 years or 30 years going back, you still feel every emotion of what you felt on that certain day. It still hurts you. So definitely agree that, to produce real tears as an actress or actor, you've got to focus on those saddest memory. All hell fails just to use the onions, right? I've been having a lot of onions in my bag, eh?
It's interesting, because male actors will fight tears. As a male, guys, period, we don't like to publicly show tears. And I can't speak for every male, but in general. So in a given situation, we will fight it to the end. We won't show physical tears. So when you play a character that's a male character in a public scene, and it's an emotional scene, it's interesting. You're playing an emotion where you're fighting tears that eventually produce tears. And it's hard for me to describe exactly what that is. But that's essentially it. My Amelia wants to go everywhere.
I think she has a special connection with Cassie from South Africa. Yeah,
I think she does. I think absolutely. Yeah.
So, how was it to work with Keanu Reeves in Matrix 4, or working on Venom 1 and 2, Ant-Man, or the Wasp? But let's first talk about Keanu Reeves.
I want to say that's probably one of the more popular questions I'm asked. And, Keanu Reeves has a reputation of being just a very grounded person, just like one of Hollywood's nicest people. And it's true. I worked on Matrix 4 for about, 11 days of the shoot that they had here in San Francisco. And I was day one. Great privilege of working with him on several scenes. And it's interesting. He is a great guy. He is willing. He says hi to his fans wherever he goes. If they want a picture, he's willing to go ahead and provide a picture for them. He's very well guarded, because he's such, a well-known actor and big star, and everybody wants to get close to him. And there's a picture that actually came out that I shared with you, where I had no idea that picture was even taken, because it was actually the paparazzi that took that picture. And from what I heard later, it was connected with TM's, another famous show that we have here in the USA. But Keanu Reeves and I were getting ready for a scene, and we were next to one another. And what you didn't see all you saw in the picture was just him and I next to one another, and we were chatting a bit. But what you didn't see was the crew around us, and they yell on set. They yell, "Last looks, last looks." So last looks, what they do is the makeup artist will come around and make sure that your makeup's okay. The hairstylist come around and make sure the hair's just right. Wardrobe comes around, make sure everything fits just right. Okay, and props come around, make sure that if you had I had a cell phone and I had an earpiece to make sure everything's fitting right. So everybody comes in to make sure that you're okay, and then they pull away. And the scene that the picture is just right before the director called action, just like right before. But he really is a great guy. He really is. It was wonderful to be able to film with him on several scenes, and and I had a great opportunity to work with other well-known actors. Tom Hardy is the star of Venom, so I worked on both Venom 1 and Venom 2. Woody Harrelson, an American actor, worked on Venom 2, so I had a good opportunity to work with him. I worked on, so people are heroes of or rather fans of the Marvel, series. I worked on Ant-Man and the Wasp, and so again, I had these great opportunities to work on these, big Hollywood films and Hollywood sets, and what I would do, because there's a holding area for the actors, which is equivalent to like a green room where they're just off to the side. And when you're called on set, then you're on set where the cameras are. But if you're not, then you're off. And most actors, they'll kind of, they'll be on the phone. They'll be on the phone, or they chit chat, they talk, and just kind of wait for their next scene. What I do is actually I stay on set. And I watch these very experienced actors, the ones that are that we look up to, the stars of Hollywood, I'll watch them and I observe their rituals, and I observe their little the things that they do to get ready for a scene, and I take notes, and I'm taking notes, so that way, if it's something that I can use for myself, then I'll go ahead and use it. And you ask yourself, these guys, these people, male, female, both, have made it to a level of recognition and stardom, and success in the industry. And you ask yourself, what is it about them that makes them unique and sets them apart from everybody else? And I'm just a student. I'm taking all kinds of notes and trying to find out how to improve myself and add more tools around my tool belt so that I can be as successful as I can be in this industry, which is very challenging. This industry is very unique because you have to have a thick skin, because you hear no a lot in this industry. You just hear no, we don't, no, we don't want you. And I've had my share of no's, and them saying, they're very, very pointed. They say, oh, you're too short, oh, you're too old, or you're not old enough, or you need to be in better shape, or you're not a very good looking person. Oh, I mean, they attack you. They literally attack you, and they don't really give much feedback on how you can improve on things. They just basically say, you know what, you're just not good enough. And so you hear that constantly, and you just can never let that be a reason why you would not pursue this. If you're really passionate about this, if you really feel that this is your calling, and you feel that this is something that's part of your future and part of who you are, then don't ever let that be something that would prevent you from succeeding.
I fully agree with you. You gotta persevere in times like that. You're always going to be experiencing these type of negativity as well. You just got to learn to deal with it. And as you said, have a thick skin.
And every one of you are in the process of your lives of trying to find out who you are. It's down to the person. Now, when you can get down to the person,
we receive criticism. We receive a certain amount of praise and just a pat on your back. Hey, good job, really good job. But we receive a lot of criticism, and some of it is to be spiteful and mean, and others is to be helpful. And for every criticism that I receive, I take it as a learning experience, and I literally would say, okay, I need to work on that. Okay, I need to improve in that area. Okay, I need to dedicate more time to that specific detail that they're relaying to me. In a lot of ways, it's kind of a gift that they're giving me, because they're saying, put some attention on this and you can do better. And I will, and it's never a good feeling. You don't go, yeah, they hated me, yeah. you never do that.
It fuels your passion, right?
It does. You go, yeah. I did horrible. That's great. you rarely do that.
I've got to try that the next time. So, John, what movies are you currently working on?
I have three. I have three in front of me right now. In about a month, I'll be working on a film called Drug Hunter. And it's a film written, produced by Glenn Parton. And this is going to be a really big film. It's going to have a theatrical release. I play a character I have a nickname called Razor. I play a former Navy SEALs military guy that is an expert martial artist. I can handle myself, whose son is killed by drug cartels. And hence the title of the movie, Drug Hunter. Then myself and a group of others go on a mission to go after them. and you know, we show our individual skills. Mine, in terms of being able to fight, is being able to. I'm an expert with knives, so I will show some extreme knife techniques out there. So we've got Drug Hunter coming out, which we start filming in about a month. Shortly after that, I have another film where I'm actually reprising my role as Father Michael from Demon Fighter into a new film called The Pastor, and that's taking the character of Father Michael to a whole other journey, and that's going to be an amazing experience. After that, I have another one. It's not titled yet, but it would be like an action film where I play the lead role in that one, and it's a little bit more of kind of a military psychotherapy drama action film with a little bit of horror in there too. So it's a little bit of everything.
So you have busy months ahead, eh?
Yeah, it'll be back to back. So once we finish one film, I'll be writing to another one, then writing to another one. And I just feel extremely, appreciative of the opportunities, because I know there's a lot of actors that really dedicated their life to this pursuit, and to get any project would be a challenging thing to do. And so I just always feel very, very privileged to be a part of it.
So, tell us about the work you do for the community, suicide prevention and care, the co-care as well.
Yeah, so the KO Cares, we had spoken about that, and that's a lot more, again, of just educating the community of self-awareness, self-protection, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say in given scenarios. Suicide prevention is near and dear to my heart and my family history. I have had very close members of my family take their lives through suicide, and it's such a taboo subject to speak about, and it's one that does need to be brought to the forefront. People have different opinions about it, and that's fine. But sometimes a lot of the people that have considered hurting themselves or taking their life, just they want to be heard. They want somebody to listen. They want somebody to care enough to just give them time and be able to express themselves. We all, particularly the pandemic that we're all in, it's even made it more challenging for people that are susceptible to a lot of these feelings. It's made it more difficult for them, and it's just a matter of bringing the subject to light, being in touch with individuals that have considered doing that, and literally being in touch with them, talking to them. What I did in terms of an actual physical action is I dedicated time to patrol the Golden Gate Bridge. Geraldine, when you come to California, you gotta see the Golden Gate Bridge. You really have to. It's beautiful.
After I do Disneyland, right?
You know what?
After I do
Myself
Disneyland.
And a good friend of mine, we agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The castle awaits me, hey?
Yeah, we'll be waiting for you. We talked about this. I love Disneyland. We'll get back to that. Would patrol the bridge up and down, and it's about 2 miles stretch. So it's about 4 miles up and back, and I would just continually go up and down the walkway. And for whatever reason, that seems to be a destination that people will jump off the bridge and take their life. So and it's been something that has been an issue for since the building of the bridge. And I've had to do everything from talk people down and try to somewhat rationalize and bring them to present and walk them off the bridge, to physically grabbing them and pulling them off the bridge. They're just on the verge of doing the action of jumping, and me just literally grabbing them and wrestling them to the ground and doing that. So, if there was, something that I can do to give somebody that one more day to think about life in a different way, that's what I did. And it's again, it's a subject that's just near and dear to my family history, and it's something that we grapple with in terms of feeling very, very depressed, and sometimes we can't control those feelings, and sometimes they become so overwhelming that we just don't know the answer to them. So yeah, it's just something that really just made sure that I was connected to in one way or the other. My days are really busy, and I'm so fortunate that I have the opportunities that I do to do the things that I do. But we have to really think about what the most important thing, and that's human life. There's some people out there that really struggle. I at a very young age, I had bouts of anxiety. I had, as a young child, a disability version of anxiety, just to a point where I felt like I just had no control. But through martial arts, was able to address a lot of those feelings. But we got to talk about Disneyland. That's what we got to talk about. So
it is sacred. John, I certainly agree with you. Suicide remains a universal challenge with millions that has been impacted around the world, and we gotta help whoever we can by strengthening their mental health, which is so fundamental. And most times most times it is just a spur of the moment and it's done. So NGOs have, or ONGs have played such significant roles in the last few decades in not just helping bridge the gap, but also creating awareness. Disneyland.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, did COVID affect any of that? Or are you?
It did. Disneyland closed down for the first time.
Just having me, right?
In its history. I'm enticing you. I'm pulling you in here. I'm pulling you in. Yeah, and Disneyland just opened up. It's been a week since it's reopened. And and obviously they're COVID compliant, so they're doing all the safety measures. And like I mentioned, California had really been very impacted by the virus, and so they're going through their new way of allowing people to visit Disneyland. I haven't gone yet, and I can't wait. And Disneyland is near and dear to my heart. And this is why, I had mentioned, I had a family member. My father was so influential to me, and it was my father that had taken his life through suicide. And but my father always took us once a year to Disneyland as children, and that was just our ritual. Every year about summer, when everybody was on vacation, we would go to Disneyland. And I asked him one time, I said, why Disneyland? As I became more of an adult. And it was really interesting, his answer to that. Because one time I just asked him, I said, why do we always go to Disneyland? And he said, he said, because that's where dreams come true. And my father had a very, very, very poor upbringing and a very disadvantaged upbringing. And he really did wonderful things with his life and with his family. But his beginning of life was very difficult, very, very difficult. And so when he said that, it just, for me, it took on a whole different significance of why I love Disneyland and Disney things, is because it really always inspires you, and it inspires you to fulfill the dreams that you have, and to again, there's always like a lesson there, and you know, for my dad, that was a big thing, and he enjoyed having his family enjoy their time and being inspired and seeing this, you know, fireworks or magical something happening, and seeing that look in our eyes that reflect that. For him, that was, I think the most important thing. So for me, it's near and dear. So you still need to go. You have got to go.
I will be going. I definitely will be going for that.
You gotta go.
Yeah. So John, what is your ending message for our audience?
Oh my goodness. Wow. You know what? I think during this time we had a great opportunity to reflect on just life and our role in this world, and you know, and I think what matters most, you know, in life, and that's just, it's life. It is the most precious commodity. But as individuals, you know, to see us through things, and there's a saying that my teacher has always said to me and to all his students in growing up, and that's that you win when you lose if you learn. And I'll say that one more time. You win when you lose if you learn.
I get you.
Life is a classroom. We will always learn something new in our life to our last breath. We'll always experience something brand new. And I'm a student of life like I am a student of martial arts. I always will be. Yeah, there'll never be a point in my life where I say I got it all down. I got the whole thing figured out. No. We will always learn, and if you're a person that's willing to learn from anybody or everybody or any situation, then you're an advantaged person. Then you're closer to that goal that you might have in mind. You're that much closer.
John, that is incredible advice. I so enjoyed our interview today, and even more fun when we were talking about Disneyland. So, John, you are so amazing. You know, you have this undeniable presence with confidence, enthusiasm, and self-assurance. I thank you so much for joining us today and being on the Geri G Show, Global TV, and Good People TV. It really, really was an honor having you here today.
You know, the honor is mine. Keep on doing what you do. You know, you have a wonderful show, especially during a time where I think people need this most. You know, they need a venue or an outlet of sorts that your show provides, of people's perspectives and enlightenment. And you know, let me tell you, Geraldine, you do a wonderful job, and it's an honor to be on your show. I was just very happy to be a part of it.
Thank you so much, John. I truly appreciate it. And my message to all my guests out there is work for a cause, but not for applause. Live life to express and not to impress. So see you guys soon. Ciao. I'll see you in Disneyland, John.
We'll catch you in Disneyland. Absolutely.